Okay. So grateful to be here with you. And I guess I'm just going to start out by really naming that I'm coming into this practice with a bit of a heavy heart this morning. And so I name that because when we're practicing together, and especially as someone who's leading you through practice, if you're going to sense that perhaps in my own voice or in the cadence or rhythm of my practice, it's important to name it on the front end. And this heaviness has actually been with me the entire week. So maybe I'll just kind of start out by sharing that I entered onto my yoga mat here in practice a few days ago, and I could just feel a tremendous grief. And I just kept having to say, I don't exactly know what I'm grieving. Right? I don't exactly know why I'm grieving today, but I'm grieving. And, by the end of my practice, I really just sat and wept for about 20 minutes, and it was deeply healing. And then as the day unfolded and the week has unfolded, this information about the children in Canada has come forward, and there's this news of 751 indigenous children who are found buried. And it's so sad. It's just so sad. It's one of those collective wounds that we are awakening to in our world right now. And this recognition that it is our job to honor these children and to step in as healers and light workers, and that stepping onto the yoga mat isn't all about, light and love and rainbows. It's about being real and being with what is. And so I'd like to dedicate this class to those children. And I'm aware that you may have walked into this Zoom class today not knowing that it might open up something heavy like this. I'm aware of that. And so I do truly honor and request that you take care of yourself around this. And I also really request that to honor something like this and to touch into grief or collective grief it requires a dance. It requires that we also connect to our breath, connect to something larger than us, a world heart, if you want to think about it that way. And that it also invites us to connect to our own joy, the deep preciousness of the fact that we are here in a body alive today. And so it's a practice of holding the both and the broadness of this human experience. So thank you all for allowing me to speak to that for a moment and to kind of bring in an honoring of, again, this heavy heart. I'll just say a few more things and then we'll go into practice. One is that, I think that this piece is also highlighting that there are so many elements that are out of balance in our world, right? There's imbalances of power, there's imbalance in access to resources, there's an imbalanced relationship between humans and the earth, and imbalanced relationships between humans and other humans. And so when I speak about a practice that's about balance, that it's a restorative practice internally. And I really believe that when we are changing our relationship between self and self, right? Like how are you speaking to yourself? How do you attend to your most vulnerable parts? How do you make space for your tender emotions? How do you treat your body, right? When we clean up or participate in yoga, which is, one of the principles is saucha. It means cleanliness, but it's not like just taking a shower. It's like cleaning up all of those energetic relationships to ourselves, that when we clean up in here, we can show up in the world in a more refined fashion. So this practice has an element of letting go and cleaning up the mind, cleaning up basic ways of being with yourself that are no longer serving you. And that refinement process can allow us to show up more fully, can kind of clear out the muck between who we think we are and who we really are. Okay, so as we shift into practice, I would love to start today with a minute of silence. And whether that's your own way of being with or tending to this recognition of these 751 children, or perhaps your own personal transgressions and griefs. We'll take just a minute together, just being present. Thank you. Perhaps drawing palm to palm in front of your heart, allowing yourself to just sense this midline coming to your own center. I'll offer up a poem, the words of Dana Fald's, a yoga poem. Yoga is not about the pose. It's not about the alignment of toes or hips or shoulders. It is not about the form. Yoga is an invitation to explore, not a command performance. It speaks the language of the soul. In the flow of breath and motion, yoga coaxes us from the confines of the known across the silent threshold into vastness. Yoga is the union of prayer and movement, guided from inside. It is healing and the joy of saying yes to life. Breathe, relax, and feel the body receive its own truth. The seed of freedom flowers within each of us whenever we are open to what is real. Alrighty, I'm going to shift back onto my mat. And I'll start us in with, get a little more light. Let's start us in with a little bit of a moving meditation. And this one, some of you may have done with me before. We're going to bring the hands to heart. And we're going to move side to side. So we're going to open up to the right, let your gaze follow the right palm. And exhale to center. And inhale to the left, let your gaze follow. And exhale, center. Inhale. And exhale. You've got the movement, you've got the breath. Find your rhythm, make this yours. We come to the heart center, we connect to the world. We come back again. One more each side. And softening to center. I'll invite you to bring the soles of your feet together for a moment. Allow your hands to come down to your feet and really give them some love. Your connection to the earth, feeling your soles, right? The soles of your feet. Let yourself really greet yourself as you are, where you are. Maybe your ankles get a little love, insides of the calves. And you might even give your legs a little bit of a rhythmic butterfly movement. And then we're going to explore this cobbler's pose, this butterfly pose in an uneven fashion. So we're going to take the right foot forward of the left. You can kind of have the left toes touching the right heel. And then from here, you can explore how it feels to bow forward just a little bit. And this isn't about, again, the pose. It's not about what it looks like. So just let yourself feel this from the inside out. You can wriggle in. You might find some spinal movements. And then we'll lift back up on this side, and I'll invite you to take the right leg and turn it here so that the knee comes toward the inside of your left foot. So we're in a deer pose here. And then with your right hand, perhaps on your hip, allow yourself to inhale as you turn to the left, press your right hip forward, and then exhale, soften back. Moving with breath, the movement, let it be intuitive. You might even free the right arm, just let yourself find some fluid motion. You could even free both arms. Lovely. And then from here, a little leaning forward once again towards your left knee. You can come in and out of the shape. And then we'll unwind it all, coming back to center, little cobbler moment. And then we'll take it to the other side. So this time, left foot slightly in front of the right. Taking a moment to arrive in this shape, wiggle it in, wriggle your way forward, moving through your shoulders, your breath, your spine. I like exploring these uneven shapes for the sacrum because it starts there. We're going to start with exploring where the foundation can get out of balance. And we restore by tuning in to what is. Slowly we lift up, and I'll invite you to take the left leg around. Left foot comes behind, knee towards the right leg, and some gentle movements, maybe starting with your left hand on your left hip. Allowing yourself to inhale, lengthen your heart, and exhale, soften back. Moving in your rhythm. Maybe you free the left arm. Maybe you take this with both arms lifted. Inhale, expand, reach, grow. And exhale, we come back home, releasing left leg forward. This time just a cross-legged position. And I'll invite you to draw the arms up overhead. And exhale over toward your right side. Right fingertips behind, left hand can kind of hook around your right knee. And then you might explore how it feels to find your way into the twist. We're really honoring midline, so we're not forcing anything here. And then maybe you begin to draw left shoulder towards the left knee. You can draw the right arm up overhead and breathing into the right side body. So as we open one side, we're simultaneously contracting into the left side body. Let yourself really go toward that. Really squeeze that in. And then inhale. We'll lift it out. We'll open it up. And we'll take it to the other side. Left fingertips behind. Right hand takes a hold of the left knee. Finding your way with the twist to start. Maybe begin to descend, right shoulder towards the right knee. Left arm can come up overhead. Sometimes we find pockets in the body of emotional holding that we didn't even realize were there. But when we wake up through movement, we discover these places hidden, buried of grief. And we open and we turn towards, slowly coming up, lifting, coming back to center. Maybe a few rotations of your shoulders in each direction. And then from here, I'm going to turn sideways on my mat. We're going to come into a little bit more of an active practice. Honor your body, honor your pace, stay true to you, please. This next shape is coming into boat pose, and it's going to be a moving boat. Okay, so we're going to balance on the backs of the sits bones, although you can do this with the toes on the ground. So explore what serves you here. And then We'll inhale, opening to the left. So I'm lengthening through the arm and through the leg, and then coming back. I'm going to use my hands behind the static leg. So opening to the right, and exhale, center. And we'll row the boat this way. Inhale, and exhale. Inhale, exhale, side to side, crossing midline with your gaze, allowing yourself to explore what it feels like to stay connected to center and yet open away from that place. How do we stay in balance as we reach and come back? Returning to center when you're even on both sides. And then from here, I'll invite you to place both feet onto the ground and to take your arms to the outside of your legs, pressing your outer thighs, your knees into your arms, and resist with your arms. You might even feel a little bit of a shake. You're really pressing both limbs really strongly here. All right, we're going to soften out of that and we'll take it in the opposite direction. So both arms on the insides of your legs, and we're going to press the legs in towards your arms and resist with your arms. Good, and then soften. We're going to repeat that again. I want you to just notice for a moment how the insides and outside leg kind of sides of your legs feel here. We're just activating some muscles engagement here. So hands on the outside of the knees. You can press, press, press. Good. And then arms on the inside of the legs. Press, press, press. Lovely. With your legs out in front of you, keeping outer leg, inner leg on board, engaged as you lower all the way down onto your back. And then from here, I'll invite you to bring your legs up into an eagle shape. So right leg over the left, you can single or double cross through your feet, doesn't matter there. Hands behind your head. Squeezing to midline, and exhale, drawing your elbows toward your knees. Inhale will come away from center. Your feet might come forward a little bit. Exhale, lift and curl. Squeeze it all in. Inhale, expand. Exhale. Inhale. We need to connect to our strength, our center. This world needs that of you. You need this from you, right? To show up, to wake up each day, to be present for what is, allowing yourself to build up that capacity, that empowerment. One more like this. Slowly release. We're going to keep the legs as they are, and then we're going to take the hands and press them into the knees. So I've got left hand, right hand stacked above each other on top of the right leg. And then we're going to, once again, find a little static hold. So you're going to press your knees into your hands resist. Feel a little bit of the shake. Connect to your core strength. And then soften, let it go, uncross the knees, and for a moment, just allow yourself to rock a little side to side. We're going to find this on side 2, taking left leg across the right, hands behind the head to start. And on an exhale, draw to midline. Inhale to expand. Exhale. Inhale. Beautiful. Lowering down through your upper body. And this time, hands on top of the left thigh. Pressing firmly with your hands. Pressing firmly with your legs. Resisting. This is not a collapse. This is a strong hold. Feel a little bit of the shake. Feel your belly awake. And then soften. Exhale, release the knees. You can take one hand on each knee and a little rotation of each leg away from each other, towards each other. Lovely. And then hands behind your knees, a few rocks on your spine. And up and over the shins into a tabletop. And a few breaths here in any free form movement that allow you to integrate spinal, hip, core work that we've done so far. Yoga is not about the pose. What's happening inside right now? And then I'll invite you to join me in a little bit of an uneven cat-cow movement. So as we did in cobblers, we're going to shift in the pelvis by taking the left knee a bit forward of the right knee. You can have your toes curled under or your tops of your feet down. It's up to you. And then from this uneven shape, we'll find a few cat-cows lifting through your head, tail. Exhale, arching your spine. Good, and then a neutral spine, and we'll find a few rotations, allowing your pelvis to find a circling motion in one direction. Your spine might arch, your head might match the pelvis, just allowing yourself to rotate all the way through, and we'll take it in the opposite direction. And sometimes this can feel a little bit like you're rubbing your belly and patting your head. So don't worry so much if it feels awkward. Just go in, find your way. Again, we're going out of balance to find balance sometimes. So let's shift it out. We're going to take the right knee forward of the left, and we'll find some cat-cow motions. Right, we have to turn towards where the imbalance is, as that lives in your own body. That's what we're exploring right now. Very often we have little torques in our pelvis, one hip higher or more forward than the other. The sacrum can be torqued or turned in one direction or another. So we're just working, moving towards those shapes, rather than trying to fix it by setting it in a perfect position. We're going to turn towards the muscular engagement that holds us in those contortions, and we get curious. What's there for me? Let's find some rotations on this side, just starting in one direction. You might go clockwise and then counterclockwise. It's allowing your tailbone as if it's going to trace that clock on the wall behind you. Let your spine, your shoulders, your head respond. And then we'll go the other direction. And then coming back to center for a moment, I'll invite you to bring your knees quite wide and to set your tailbone back towards your heels. Maybe walking your hands forward and allowing your chest, your chin, your forehead to settle to the earth. Even here, you can find a little bit of a movement, a wiggling in your hips, your shoulders, your neck. You could also explore bringing your hands to prayer position, Anjali, and then bending at the elbows and letting your hands rest at the base of your skull, at the nape of your neck. Explore how it feels to hug your elbows toward each other in this shape, pressing your palms firmly. And then slowly, slowly unwind the arms. We're going to come back up through to tabletop. And I'll invite us into another stabilizing flow. Again, we're crossing midline. Have a sip of something here. So from tabletop, allowing yourself to bring your left leg back behind, finding a point for your gaze, and then perhaps your right arm comes forward. Allowing yourself to explore what helps you stay connected to center in these reaching motions. Leg and arm, your limbs extending, and then exhale, let's draw it to center, elbow and knee. Inhale to reach. Exhale, curling in. Inhale, expand. Exhale, contract. Inhale, we expand, and this time exhale, bending through the left leg, drawing right arm back and behind. You might pause here just like this, or you might take a hold of the top of the left foot and kicking leg into hand, resisting with the hand, half bow. We open the heart, the throat. Slowly, without slingshotting, releasing knee, releasing hand back to the earth, and just a little bit of wiggling free form here, just working that out of your spine. And we'll find side two. This time it is the right leg back. It's the left arm forward. Pausing for a moment, finding your balance. Gaze can help. And then inhale to reach. Exhale, center. Inhale, expand. Exhale, we contract. Moving with your breath. And inhale, we open. Exhale, bending through the right knee, extending the left arm back. Maybe you stay just like this. Maybe you take hold of the foot and find a half bow. Either way, we're drawing the energy from the core into the heart, into the throat. Inhale here. And exhale, we soften, we release, hands, knees to the earth. Move it through. Beautiful. And then an invitation to press into your hands and your feet. Inhale, lifting head, tail, and exhale, allowing your sacrum to lift you up into a downward dog shape. And then let's walk it out. You can bend through both knees. You can allow yourself to find a little bit of fluid undulating movement through your spine. Maybe you shake your head, move your jaw around. Let your voice go, sigh it out. And I'll invite you to bend your knees a little bit more deeply here. We're going to claw the mat with your finger pads and just finding a little crouching tiger shape. So your knees can come closer to the earth. This is fluid and this shape has a lot of potential to it, right? So there's this feeling of you could kind of pounce in any direction. You've got a lot of potential energy in your pelvis and your legs. All right, and then let's lengthen back up, downward dog. And then rebending the knees from that bent shape, we're going to step the right foot forward. You can visualize it first, and then on an exhale, stepping the right foot forward and through. And then for a moment, just a little free-form movement. You can lengthen through the right leg, and bend into both knees. Greet this shape however you need to, opening through your hamstring, your hip flexors. And I'll invite you to release the left knee down and we'll come into a dragon shape. So we're going to bring both arms to the inside of the right foot, and right foot can angle out here, okay? And then from there, allowing yourself just to, again, find a little bit of motion as you draw the hips back. And then as you come forward, opening into that left hip flexor a little more. And we come back and forward. This time, I'll invite you to take your left fingertips a little bit wider and turn toward the right leg. You can have your right hand on top of the thigh. Maybe you reach the right arm back. Maybe you bend into the left knee. Maybe you take a hold at the top of the foot. Once again, this half bow creates a little bit of tension between the arm and the leg, and that translates into an opening across the front of the chest, the heart, the throat, so that we have this deep connection from your hips all the way through midline. Slowly release, foot comes down, coming back to the ground here, and I'll invite you to lift up into a little crescent moon shape. So now we're lifting above that left knee. And you can find a little bit of movement. You might want a little padding under your left knee. So we're going for comfort, right? And for perhaps inhale, we'll lift the arms, and exhale, we're going to find a little open twist here toward the right leg. You can stay just like this, or maybe hands to prayer as we bring left elbow to the outside of your right thigh. And then allow yourself to explore this depth. You can come in and out. You might curl the left toes under and lift the left knee. Just making it yours, right? Feel how this prayer twist helps you be present, coming to midline in the midst of intensity. What is the prayer from your heart for the imbalances, for the cracks in the foundation? Let's soften back to center, We're going to ground that left knee one more time, and this time hips come back, and we're finding a Ardha Hanumanasana, a half split pose. And once again, make it yours. You might find a few undulating breaths of your spine. You might explore how it feels to ground into that left hand and take a little twist toward the right. You can take that right hand to the sacrum, just allowing yourself to draw the right hip back. We're greeting the IT band, so you can flex through that right foot, and maybe you draw the right arm up. Exhaling back to center, crawling yourself forward, grounding through your hands, and we'll step back, downward facing dog. Walking it out, noticing left and right sides of your body. And we'll explore this on side 2. So we'll take that bent knee position for our transition, really draw your pelvis back, and then visualize stepping your left foot forward, and on an exhale, finding your way there. Lovely. A few breaths, just a free flow. And if these movements start to get too quick, slow it down. Really see if you can stay embodied through the practice. Eventually taking your right knee down, walking hands to the inside of your left leg as you toe heel the left foot out. You can stay here. Maybe again, finding a little bit of movement of the pelvis back and forth. Greeting the underline of your left hip. And then perhaps into dragon as we turn towards the left side. You can keep your hand on your left thigh. Maybe you bend through the right leg. Maybe you take the arm around. You can just stay in that intended direction. Or you take hold of the top of the foot, kicking foot into hand, resisting with the arm, and allowing that to begin to find an opening across the solar plexus, across your heart, across your throat. Slowly. Backing out, coming back to center, walking yourself up into a crescent moon. Taking a moment to find your balance, maybe a little padding under the right knee, and we'll inhale the arms up. Exhale a twist towards the left. You can stay right here. Maybe you take palm to palm and rotate right elbow to the outside of your left thigh. Once again, it can be a little exploratory here. Where would you like your gaze? Do you want your right knee on the earth, or do you want to lift it up here? Staying true, showing up for you. Slowly unwind, we soften, we reground the right knee if it's lifted, and then we'll walk the hips back. You can slide the left heel slightly forward. And then finding some movements of spine, reading your left hamstring. And if it feels okay, and you can always place a block underneath your right hand for this twist, you might explore how it feels to open up towards the left. So I'm flexing through the right foot, I'm drawing the left hip back, maybe the left arm comes up overhead. And slowly, hands down, crawling back forward, planting your hands and stepping left foot back to meet the right. You can walk it out with your feet. And I'll invite you to widen your stance just a little and walk your hands a good handprint closer to your feet. So it's a shorter down dog stance. And then maybe you join me in taking right hand across to your left shin. Taking a hold here, we'll once again use a little resistance of the arm against the leg to facilitate a little twist as you gaze underneath your left armpit. So you can counterbalance that by allowing your sacrum to stay even, grounding both heels, inner and outer lines of the feet. And then we'll unwind from that side. Let's take it the other way. Explore it in your body if you'd like. Left hand to the outside of the right ankle or calf. This side might be different. I know it is in my body. My right calf was pretty tight today. So just feel out. What is your body needing? How might you facilitate this twist while staying rooted and grounded in your lower body? And then unwinding, maybe lengthening your stance back out. And I'll invite you to take a slow, mindful walk to the front of your mat. So our forward fold here is we're slowly making our way upright. So allowing yourself to step one foot and then the other. Allow that little stepping motion in your feet to translate into your legs as you bend one knee and the other. Your hips will feel this, allowing your upper body to sway a little side to side. I like my hands on the earth, just a little bit more of a grounding point here, but you might choose to let your fingers come to elbow creases and then just simply let your upper body sway. Slowly softening out of those stepping motions, coming back to center. And I'll invite a strong transition up to standing. So we're going to bend through the knees, long through the spine, and then draw the arms back. Feeling your feet connected to the earth. Feeling your legs awake, a marker of your aliveness. Perhaps extending your fingertips forward. Letting your gaze be down, the back of the neck long, drawing navel to spine. And then we'll press into feet, long spine, all the way up to standing. Softening through the arms. And maybe shake it out for a moment. Let your legs go, arms go, knees, ankles, hips, spine, shoulders, jaw, voice. And then arrive. A moment in Samastitihi, both feet on the ground equally, equal standing. Samastitihi, a prayer for equal, balanced standing. Let that prayer come from your feet, your connection to the earth. Rise up through your legs, inner line of the legs, outer line of the legs, pelvis strong. base of the belly awake, allowing your solar plexus to be open with the breath, allowing your heart to be broad. From this stable foundation, we're going to allow some movements to happen. I'm going to widen my feet just a little bit, and we're going to just find some Qigong twists here, just allowing yourself to twist side to side, and your arms begin to make contact around your kidneys. And there's a little bit of a whew. You can let the breath match the movement, like a drum beat. Slowly out of the twists, back to center. Palm over your heart, sensing the rhythm, pulsing actions. And then releasing hands, we'll greet the side bodies again. This time I'm going to invite you to keep both arms by your sides and just allow yourself to contract into the right side body. Really feel how you're contracting here, you're lengthening, you're toning on the opposite side. And then inhale, center. Let's take it the other way. So we're taking the arms out of the equation for just a moment, unless you've got an itch on your nose. And then allow yourself to contract and expand. And back through center. This time we're going to do the same motion with the arms. I invite you to take a hold of your left wrist with your right hand, and then coming on over. And this time they'll notice more of an opening into the rib cage and side body. Back through center. Let's switch out the arms, switch out the side bend here. Beautiful. We return to center and exhale, allowing yourself to find a forward fold. Inhale into a halfway lift. Exhale, planting hands, stepping back. From a high plank, I invite you to bend at your knees, bend at your elbows, keep your hips lifted as you lower chest and chin to the earth. A moment here in this inchworm shape, and then slowly soften, extend your legs long, extend your tailbone long, allowing yourself to ground through your hands and a few rolling cobras. Just allowing yourself to greet your spine. You get to choose how much weight in the hands, how much lift of the heart. Good, and then we'll lower down here and bringing an elbow and the other elbow underneath your shoulders. So we're finding a Sphinx pose. And you might take a moment, you can rock your hips a little side to side. You can rock a little bit forward and back. I even like to curl my toes under in this shape. And then allowing your hands, your forearms to invite the heart forward. So once again, we can lengthen through the tailbone, engage through the lower belly, but expand through the solar plexus, right at the base of the rib cage, really sending your breath there. And then allow that expansion to translate into your heart. You might stay like this, or an invitation to come into a Sphinx with a half frog. In half frog, we're once again exploring a little uneven shape in the pelvis. You might take those right toes and tuck them under once again, and just a little bit of a rocking motion. Breathing into right and left sides of your pelvis, just getting to know your body. And then we'll switch it out, lengthening through the left leg, bending through the right leg. And notice, does this side of your body feel different? If so, get to know it. What does it want you to know? Any micro movements here, greeting what is. And then slowly unwind. Releasing the elbows out, planting your hands, and an invitation to come back to downward dog however you'd like. I'm going to move through tabletop, lifting the hips. And then a familiar shape. Notice what is changing in your body, what your body wants you to know today. And an invitation to find a bit of that crouching tiger once again. So you can claw the mat, you can bend deeply into your knees. Some of you know where this is going if you've taken with me before. We're bending into the knees, we're gazing forward. And then if you'd like, finding a little pounce to the front. Right? So you can do that again with me if you want. You can step back, gaze forward, feel that potential energy in your sacrum, that forward momentum for change, and we hop forward. Inhale, finding a halfway lift, and exhale, folding into your forward bend. We'll come all the way up to standing. This time, an invitation to cactus through the arms. Find a little lift of the heart. We lengthen back up. And exhale, forward fold. Inhale, lengthening, halfway lift once again. And exhale your way down to the earth. I'll invite you to step back. And if you joined me before, maybe knees, chest and chin, settling down, lengthening your tailbone, shifting your hips a little side to side. And we're going to revisit our Sphinx. Once again, taking elbows underneath the shoulders. We're going to add on to our half floor frog. So once again, bending into the left knee, maybe curling the right toes under. And this time, maybe starting to send your gaze over your left shoulder, gazing towards your left foot. I like to think of this as like really a good lizard shape, right? Like, wow, you can kind of even give yourself a little lizard claw. And you might even get curious, what's back there? You could press into that left hand and gaze beyond your left shoulder towards the back of your mat. What's back there? Slowly unwind this side, lengthening through your left leg. And we'll find side two. This is my tighter side. So get to know your body. Which is your tight hip? So you might take a moment here, both forearms down, just gazing over your right shoulder. Maybe you plant that right palm and you start to gaze behind. It's important to look back sometimes. And then we return, re-lengthen the right leg. Widen the elbows to lower down. Curling the toes, moving through a tabletop or a high plank. We meet in downward facing dog. Take your time to get there. I'm gonna have a sip. All righty. So from our downward facing dog, we have another opportunity to pounce, to step your way forward. And those can be little micro steps forward, or it might be a big leap. Doesn't matter. We take that momentum from that gazing back, from our foundation, from our hips, from what is behind us. And we use that as a way to launch forward in the healthiest way for you. Take your time to get there. And then inhale. Once you've arrived at the front of the mat, find a length of your spine. Exhale, deepen. Inhale, we'll come all the way up to standing once again. This time, exhaling into Utkatasana, bending through your knees, finding your depth. And then inhale, lifting through your arms. Exhale, palms to prayer. And then left elbow to the outside of your right thigh. Just taking your time, drawing your legs to midline, that inner line of the legs. Pressing palm to palm, lengthening through the spine. And then soften back to center, maybe a moment to lengthen out your legs. You can walk it out a little bit. And rebending, inhale, exhale, palms to prayer. Right elbow to the outside of your left thigh, finding length. Exploring what does it feel like to twist into a bit of discomfort, staying connected to your midline. How can your heart stay open even here? And then slowly lifting up. Exhale. This next transition, allowing yourself to find eagle once again, find Utkatasana once again, but now you know where we're going. Inhale, we're going to draw the arms up, and exhale, we're going to take right arm underneath the left. And with the right leg, we can step it to the side for a moment, and then up and over, finding a balanced shape in eagle. In this shape, as we lift through the elbows, we're obscuring our sight. We must rely upon our other senses to tune in and stay in balance. The sound of your breath, your peripheral vision, the felt sense of your left foot adjusting and adapting to stay in balance. And then slowly we unwind arms and legs, and we're going to step out wider. I'll invite you to lift up onto the balls of the feet, extend the arms here. A little bit of balance, and if you fall out, ground's not that far away. Feeling yourself, open wings, open heart. And exhale. Back to center. Side two. Bending through the knees. Inhaling your arms. Left arm under the right. left leg, up and around and over. And finding your way in, maybe lifting your elbows, gazing past your forearms. How do we see through the obstacles? What's the path forward? Remembering that this contraction is only part of the story. Let's open it wide, step your left foot out, expand, and broaden the heart. Beautiful. We'll step just a little bit wider. So I'm out onto the side of my mat here, and I'll invite you to join me in a broader stance here. From here, inhaling and exhale towards the left side. Taking a moment, greeting yourself in perhaps a familiar shape of warrior two. Inhale, we'll reach away. And exhale, we'll find an extended side angle. So you might take the forearm to the thigh. You might take the fingertips to the ground. There's no right or wrong. You can use a block. And for today, I'll invite you to take those right fingertips back so that we can breathe through the line of the right hip across the solar plexus into the heart. We can be open to intensity, but it doesn't have to take us down. It can't win, right? We can stay with the open heart. Inhale, we're gonna let those right fingertips reach back, lift us up, lengthen through the left leg, and then like a wave, exhale, long reach through the left fingertips, triangle. Exploring placement for your gaze, maybe towards your right hand, maybe down towards your left leg. Once again, it's your right fingertips that lift you all the way up. This time, I'll invite you to turn both your feet out for a moment and bending into your knees. So finding a goddess or a horse stance, and you could take a moment just to find this shape, find your depth, maybe even elbows to your thighs. I like to rock a little bit from side to side. And then lifting up onto the hands, invite a little bit of kind of traction of the spine here so that your shoulders might actually come up towards your ears, and that's okay. With very straight arms, just allowing yourself to let your lower back lengthen. And then we'll soften through the elbows. And we'll find a little twist here. So inhale as you twist toward one side. Doesn't matter which side. I'm going towards the left. And then exhale, come back to center. Give your spine a little bit of a rounding here. Inhale the other way. We'll find a little lengthened spine. Reach the tailbone back. And exhale, coming back to center. Maybe lion's breath at center. Inhale, side one. Exhale, let it go. Inhale to the side. And exhale, center. Inhale, we're going to lengthen up this time, lengthen through both legs, both arms. And then turning the feet slightly in. And and taking yogi mudra, or clasping your hands at your sacrum, taking a moment to draw the knuckles down and lift your heart. And exhale, humbly bowing, head beneath heart, slight bend in the knees, protecting your low back, your hamstrings. You can wiggle and breathe here through your shoulders, your neck, face, and jaw. So I can't see your face. I don't know if anyone can, but totally okay to scrunch it up tight or stick your tongue out. Cross your eyes, right? And you can hear me, but I can't hear you. So maybe just a sigh, a sound, letting it go. Slowly, by way of your sacrum, releasing your hands down, and then you, with bent knees, coming all the way back up to standing. Little rotation of the shoulders, and we're going to shift the feet, turning right foot to the right. You can angle your left toes in, and just make sure you're on the second side of your lunge here. So if you had it a different way, just finding your side too, and then allowing your arms to find some length here, maybe your gaze. Grounding into the spiritual warrior, that part of each of us that's capable of turning towards challenge, that recognizes that the alchemical process of turning lead into gold involves turning towards that which is uncomfortable or maybe even a little fearful. But the story doesn't end there, right? We have to go through that, work it, alchemize it. Inhale, let's reach away. And exhale, finding extended side angle, your version. I'll invite you to join me, reaching the left arm back and behind, palm open, heart rotating up. Letting those left fingertips lift you out, lengthening through the right leg. We can reach away, and like a wave, exhale long, reach, reach, reach through the right fingertips, rotating the hands. If you want to shorten your stance slightly, or maybe a slight micro bend in the right knee, finding your way into Trikonasana, that stable foundational base. Slowly, left fingertips lift you back up. And on an exhale, bending into the right knee, we'll draw the arms forward, stepping right foot back, downward facing dog. Maybe you want to round forward, bending at the elbows, and either to the earth for cobra, or perhaps you roll to the tops of the feet for upward facing dog. Slowly pressing back, downward facing. We'll find one more short standing sequence. Inhale, drawing your right leg back. Exhale, stepping forward, and an invitation to have a block for this if you have one handy. If not, I'll offer some variations without one. So allowing yourself to find a pyramid shape. Again, we've got a nice stable triangle shape as our base. And having something under your hands to lengthen through your spine can be freeing if your hamstrings are tight or IT bands are tight. In either form, it's allowing yourself to connect in. Remember, yoga is not about the pose, but the pose provides an opportunity to dive in, meet your edges, greet those tight spaces and learn from them. And then if you'd like, we'll take this into a revolved Trikonasana, revolved triangle. I like the block on the outside of my right foot. You're gonna feel this out for yourself. If there's no block, hand on top of shin can be handy, or finding a soup can, right? So allowing yourself to explore, again, you can have block on the underneath the left shoulder as well. And then maybe hand to sacrum, finding length of your spine. Maybe right arm lifts. Unwinding for a moment. And if you've got that block handy, here's where it's handy underneath the left shoulder. We're going to launch forward, and you could take that block a little forward with you, into a standing revolved half moon. So right here, left leg lifted, left hand on the block, and right hand on your sacrum. You can have a little micro bend in your right knee. Maybe you begin to turn open toward the right once again. Maybe the right arm lifts here. You might say this is enough for you today, and I fully respect that. If you want to join me, we're going to curl inward, taking the left hand with the left foot with the right hand. And then from here, you can begin to lift off the earth, finding flight, maybe left hand to your heart, finding that bow shape once again, open through solar plexus, open through the heart, maybe left arm lifts. Very slowly, we release out, 2 feet on the ground, maybe another chance just to shake that one out. Sometimes it feels good to greet challenge with challenge, right? We show up, you could probably feel your heart beating now, standing into the precious gift that it is to be alive. Let's find this on side 2. Inhale, sweeping the arms. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway, and for today, just stepping right back, downward facing dog. This time, left foot coming forward and finding your pyramid. So feet are closer than they are for a warrior, maybe where your down dog distances are even slightly closer. And you might use your block, giving yourself the gift of support. Getting to know your tight hips, your tight legs. And then perhaps taking this into a revolved shape. Block can be under right shoulder, maybe to the outside of your left foot. I like to start with my left hand on my sacrum, just a nice reminder to find some balance in the pelvis. As we twist through the spine, maybe the arm becomes an extension. And slowly unwind. I'm seeing, okay. And then allowing yourself to use your block underneath your right shoulder, maybe underneath your Maybe moving it forward a little bit as you come to balance on that left foot. Finding your way in here. This is a balancing, revolved half moon. Maybe you find that twist through the upper body. Maybe the left fingertips reach. And you can opt out of this final shape, or perhaps you bend in, you take a hold, left foot hand, right ankle, and begin to lift off. This is your takeoff. So isn't it amazing when we think about these heavy things called airplanes and how they can somehow take flight, but we're capable of doing amazing things. Slowly, slowly unwind. 2 feet to the earth. We've done it. We've risen to meet the challenge. Inhale, sweeping your arms, maybe lifting your heart. And exhale, folding in. Inhale, lengthen, and your way to downward facing dog. Maybe a vinyasa, maybe none at all. Maybe you stayed in child's pose for the last 15 minutes or hour and a half. All welcome here. Slowly settling knees to the earth. Coming back to your heels. A moment to tune in. Hand to belly, hand to heart. From here, an invitation for a variation of camel. We'll turn the toes under, hands to sacrum, allowing your tailbone to be long, and we'll find a one-armed variation, okay? So you might want to just pause and look for a moment. I'm going to take my left arm, my left hand to my left heel, and then from here, allow the right arm to lift. So feeling that juxtaposition of the connection to earth, the openness across the whole front line of the body, and the reaching to the heavens, the reaching to the realms of potential. Slowly centering. Let's find side 2. Releasing right hand, right heel or ankle. And then from your heart, lifting through your left fingertips. Squeezing the inner line of the legs, allowing that to translate through belly, solar plexus, heart, throat. Even your mind expands. Slowly, we lift up, untucking the toes, crossing at the ankles, coming back to sitting. Perhaps sitting on something, lifting your hips just a tad here. And we'll do a very brief pranayama practice, balancing, integrating, alternate nostril pranayama, holding in first and second finger of the right hand, using your thumb to close off the right nostril. Inhaling through the left. Switching the fingers to close the left and exhaling through the right. Inhaling right. Exhaling left. Inhaling left. Exhaling right. Inhaling right. Exhaling left. Inhaling left. Exhaling right. Inhaling right. Exhaling left. Releasing the right hand. Your choice. Staying seated or coming into Shavasana to integrate and receive your practice. Yoga is the union of prayer and movement, guided from inside. It is healing and the joy of saying yes to life. Breathe. Relax and feel the body receive its own truth. The seed of freedom flowers within each of us whenever we are open to what is real. Taking your time, allowing yourself to rest as long as you would like in Shavasana or in meditation. And for those of you that would like to close out together, taking a moment to find some gentle movements, reawakening. Noticing what you are bringing with you as you transition off of your mat, out of your practice. What has changed across this 90-minute period of time? What prayers spontaneously have moved from your heart to your mind, from your belly, from deep within the roots of your foundation? Perhaps gathering this into Anjali one more time, palm to palm in front of your heart. A deep bow from the very center of my being to each of you for joining me on this very sacred practice. Namaste.